hope everybody is having a good day. It's super exciting. Beb, Kriya, and Ferry. We're going to be talking lighting and camera setups this time. So if you guys are new, we host workshop spaces via Twitch and Twitter spaces, and we're going to be sharing visuals on Twitch. So if you guys want to follow along with the Blender tutorials and any other things that we might pull up, just make sure you're following the Artifact Twitch. I put the link up top, and yeah. So what we can do is we can pass it off to Beb and Kriya, just let them introduce themselves a bit while more people get in, and then we'll get started.
Hey everyone, it's Kriya. It's nice to have you all, and I hope this workshop is going to be as good as the other one. We have so many things to learn today. And for beginners, this will be great to learn new skills. And for people who have advanced skills, it's just a great way to get to know Blender even better.
Hi guys, it's Ferry Liquid. I'm happy to follow along as the slowpoke of the group. Hopefully we have a nice outcome at the end of this like we did last time. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ferry, you went from slow to running pretty fast. I'm not gonna lie, so I have high expectations of you this time. I'm trying to find yours to that's what we're gonna have to do. We will definitely need a progress video of Ferry's like first workshop, and then 35 or 50 or whatever we get.
That's a really good idea. Let's do that. I'm down.
So Bev, I'm gonna let you share your screen in the Google Meets, and then we can turn it over to you.
Also, for anybody who wants to follow us, just make sure you open up Blender and any files you want to use for today. And yeah, we're almost ready to start.
Yeah, we'll let everyone get set up. We're basically gonna pick up from last week where we did animating your clone, getting it into a cool pose. But if you didn't do that, you really could just get like the default cube and practice the same thing with the default cube, and then put your clone in later.
Yeah, I think I might do that. It's going to take me 10,000 hours to put my clone back in. Completely forgotten already. I need to watch the YouTube video.
I was going to say, why are you not shilling the famous Beb tools? The one-click trick, the plugin everybody should have at this point.
It's a work in progress. It's pretty cool though.
I love it. I was so impressed because I didn't. I don't know if you had the export stuff in the first version, and so that's why I was like, oh wait, what? I was like, this man added.
The next version's gonna be better. It's gonna be really cool. Teamed up with a couple people.
Wow. Don't sleep.
Oh, no.
I was gonna say that is on. He's on running alpha, beta. All good Artifact stuff just for fun, you know.
Just for fun.
But yeah, if anybody has questions and wants to throw them in the chat, whether it be in Twitch or if you want to request, just let us know. We'll make sure that this is interactive, and that way people can get something out of it and feel like they're learning and adding to their project, whatever it is that they're working on. Which y'all are crazy. Like there's so many different amazing things. I definitely had to tag this cultivate video that we retweeted, because that and some of the other ones, I'm forgetting, it's not Gui, but he put out another one recently where it was like a 24-hour render, or 24-hour like design process. I think that was that just kind of takes the case for me.
Those levels, please.
We'll get there eventually.
Yes, actually.
A couple more workshops, that's all.
Exactly.
That's that should be the goal, is workshop number 30. Ferry is teaching us, and we have like, once again, advanced just ran Pixar animation that people are able to do.
Listen, Kat. You're laughing now. You just wait.
I'm ready for it. I'm riding your coattails to the top. That's what I'm saying.
Standing beautifully with parts of her skin coming out of her trousers, but that's fine. I know how to get rid of them. I've been watching the YouTube videos.
So for this video, we're pretty much going to do like setting up the stage, setting up a little bit of lighting, trying to add that little bit of extra, that scenery for your clone or whatever you're trying to take a picture of. And we'll just do a little bit of basics on that. So we can start by let's adding a floor. So to do that, you can hit add. And then we're going to go down to mesh. And then we can add a plane.
Yep.
And then we can just scale this up to be more like a floor. So you can hit the letter S. And then we'll just move your mouse around. And then left click to confirm your selected size. All right, but now let's get into a little bit of what it's going to look like. So if you tap the letter Z while your mouse is in this area, these are all your modes, right? Your viewing modes. They're also up here in the top right as well, but this is a little shortcut key. So we're going to put ourselves in rendered because this is what it's actually going to look like when we take a picture. And for this video, we'll do some dark room. What I mean by that is we'll come over here to this world properties tab, this little earth, this red earth looking button, and we'll select it. And you should have a color here that it's probably gray like mine. And we'll just make it black. So now there's no lights in the room. We're playing in the dark. And if at any point when you're working in a dark environment like this and you want to see things again, you can just switch your view mode using Z. And we'll go into like material preview. Now we can see again. But this is not what it's going to look like in the render, right? So your render mode is always going to be what it looks like when you take the picture.
Bev is that's what I'm saying. He's not like the good angel in the scary movie.
With me still?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Then we'll go back to add, and we'll put our first light in. And we're going to choose area light. And once you select area light, it's going to be in the floor. So we can just pull this up by moving this Z. If you have this tab open, there should be like a little side dot. If you don't have this open, you're going to select and it's going to pull out this tab. Yeah, click on that little arrow, and then you should have a box that comes out. And then at the very top option of all these little side menu boxes, that's the transform box. And we're just going to move the Z up. You can just click and drag, and you can get it in a nice position. That kind of provides like a little spotlight.
Oh, it looks like I'm scanning myself.
That actually be a pretty effect.
Zoom.
Yeah, for an animation, that would actually look pretty cool.
Stop taking my ideas.
You gotta slow down. I was just saying we're already ready to start animating lights.
Yeah, a few people are
Perhaps we
asking
can just go
how to
through
make
that
the
again.
environment dark again.
Yeah, sure. So to make the world dark, first you have to make sure you're in rendered mode. This is what's gonna actually like accept what lights you have going on. Because material will put you in a fake lit up world. Rendered is your world that you're creating. And then on the earth, red earth looking thing. And then that's where you just set the color to black. Okay, so from here, we're going to use this light and make another one. So you can click on this light, make sure it's highlighted, selected like this, and then hold Shift and press D. Shift D.
Wait, sorry, what does this do?
So we just duplicated it. Now there's a second one. So if you see over here, now I have another area .001. So now with this second area light duplicated, we can move it around. So I can like drag this Y and get another one maybe over here, a little in front of the character. And then we can move its rotation around. So we can take like this X right here, and we can like point it more at the character and adjust it how you see it on your character.
Okay.
So one thing that helps me whenever I'm looking at lighting is going from the top down the Z perspective. So that way you can see which direction the light is pointing in. And sometimes it just helps for getting like placements of things and moving around.
Yeah, so if we wanted to do that, you have this little compass up here. And this any of these little lit up colored spheres, and they'll snap you to a different perspective.
So the blender shortcuts are really what it is. If you can figure 90% of those out, you'll be able to do like everything.
Oh, it makes life so much easier.
Okay, I realized what I was doing wrong. So you know how you said Shift D to duplicate? I didn't know where my lights were going, and they were going in a folder for some reason. I found them now. So guys, be careful where your stuff is placed.
File management. Beb told us.
He did. Got no one to blame but myself, really.
And again, if you can always switch back to material preview, and that might help you be able to find everything visually. Because when you're working in the dark, a lot of the stuff is going to be a little harder to see.
Yes. Great tip.
And then with that, while you're adding an additional light, you can select any of the lights. I can't see my light right there. And then you should get a little light bulb button down here. So if you click on this light bulb's only going to appear while you're selecting a light. This is where you can change some of your options for your light. The only two you really need is the color and the power. And they're pretty much self-explanatory, right? You want that light to be really bright, you can throw that light up and it'll only get brighter. Or if you want to start doing like color accents, you can make it, maybe you want a little bit of red or purple or yellow in there, right?
Ooh.
And you can balance out the colors. So if you have two lights, you can make sure, or you can check and be like, okay, I want the whites to be really strong, and then that to kind of blend in with my orange over here.
How do I make it look like she's been abducted by aliens?
I guess maybe a blue, green, white.
Like, can you see the light coming down in like?
She got a vision.
I do.
Okay, so if we wanted to do something like that where you can see that backlight, what we can do is we can grab your plane. So select your plane. So it's all lit up like this. And then we're going to go into edit mode. All right, with me?
Yeah, I lost my plane.
You lost your floor?
Yeah, it's in that folder of like all the rigged stuff. Okay,
No
wait, I'm
floors.
dragging it down. I'm with you. Let's
Okay.
go.
And then there's while you're in edit mode, there's these 3 different buttons. And this is what you can edit. So like this is your vertices. You'll see they'll change like the points in which you can edit. So on the first one, you can see like the dots. This should be your default, the dots in the 4 corners. And in the second one, it'll just look like lines because these are your edges. So for this, we're going to use the edges one. And the third one is faces. So it'll select entire faces since I told half of it. So on your edge mode, we'll deselect everything and just grab the back edge. So you see how just my back edge is selected right now?
Yep.
And then we can hit the letter E.
Extrude.
Yes. And then so hit the letter E, and then immediately after hit the letter Z. So you have that nice blue line going up into the sky. And then just move your mouse up. So we create that back wall.
Oh, what the hell? Yeah. That is so different than the way I've done things. I don't know why that tripped me out.
Probably this is the easiest. But you
And
know,
then
you could
left click.
perhaps import a cube and then delete some of the faces, but there's different
Took it
ways you can do it.
halfway, and then I clicked it in. And then I went to do it again, and it created a whole other face. So how do I,
So let's
instead
say
of going undo, yeah.
yeah, say it's halfway like this, right?
Yeah.
And you just want it to go taller. Instead of hitting E, because E will make a new face, you
Yeah.
hit G. G for grab.
Okay, you grab it up.
And then so G and then Z again.
Oh, beautiful.
That's so much better than the way because I used to bring planes in, and I like that's why like some of my renders, they have like these weird shapes to them because I would have to get planes and then I would like try to lay them exactly how you want. But as you all probably have done in like Blender, you like miss by an angle and you're like slightly off and don't notice. It's just forever kind of stuck that way until you get exactly on the degree that you want it. So yeah, I'm definitely stealing this one. That was too easy.
Yeah, steal it.
You're meant to steal these, Cass.
I'm just downloading Beb information. That's literally that is what I do.
Okay, so once you have your nice back wall set up, we're gonna do one more thing to make it feel a little more like a backdrop.
Mhm.
So right now you're gonna have like this hard edge. I'm gonna turn my lights up really bright so you can see. See how I have like this hard edge right here? You might not want that in your picture. That nice hard corner edge. So we're gonna smooth that out. So while you're in edit mode and you're selecting your plane, we'll click right here in this edge on this corner. And then with this corner selected, hold Control and click B. Control B.
B? What does B stand for?
Stands for bevel.
It's for bevel.
Oh snap! I do zero modeling, sculpting. That is one thing I am terrified of. So that was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see how we're making like this additional plane is coming out of here? So before you left click and confirm anything, we'll just pick like a, you can just Control Z real quick.
Yeah.
B, and then we'll just kind of pull it out a little bit to see how far we want to bevel. And then before you confirm anything, if you have a scroll wheel, scroll, and you'll see it start to add these lines.
Wow.
If you don't have a scroll wheel, and you say we'll put it like here, and we'll select it, before you touch anything else, as soon as you left click and select this as your plane, this is for you non-scroll wheel people. There's going to be a button down here that says bevel, and then we can open this up. But this is only going to appear right after you confirm it. If you do anything else, it disappears. But this right here will also let you come into segments and then add some segments to round out that corner.
I have a problem. Shop.
Yeah.
So when I click on the vertice now and then hit B, I have like a cross that comes up with like dotted lines. Why is that happening?
Oh, Control B.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
You went into sniper mode. She pulled out the scope.
Yeah, so from here you should have a nice rounded edge. But it's gonna look kind of like you have these slats here, like it's cutting across. So to get rid of that, we can just switch back to object mode and then right click and then just shade smooth. It's your first option.
Wow.
Wow, I definitely like the bevel process way more now. That actually makes me feel like I could go and like make things, because before I just was like too scared to do anything except for make like a cube. I got a cube and a torus, and then
Okay, so now you have a little bit of a background, a little bit of lights. We'll come back and work on those some more, but we'll throw the camera in already so you can start to get a visualization of what you're doing. So to do that, while we're in object mode, we'll just hit add and hit camera. All right, we good? We got some cameras in there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, so move your area, your viewport view, just somewhere you think would be kind of cool. Like, I think this is kind of a cool picture. And from here, I'm going to hit Control, Alt, and 0. And there it is right there. Control, Alt, 0. And your camera should place itself at what you were looking at.
Oh.
Did it do that? Do you have a box?
Yes.
Perfect. So your camera automatically snapped to where you were looking. So if you want a different angle, you can just move your view, Control Alt 0. Now your camera's there.
That's slick. Oh,
that's great.
Beb is coming out with the heat today.
Oh,
He's throwing out all of the quick tips.
So was it Control Alt 0?
Yes, Control Alt 0. That's your snap camera to like current view. And then you can come in and do your manual adjustments. You can, while your camera is selected, of course, you can go to its location and rotation. And this is the numbers that it put in automatically for you to get this angle. But you can go in and adjust it. Be like, I wanted it a little higher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can also use the tools on the left, like the move. Yeah, exactly. Those ones that Bebe is pointing out. You can always press 0, go out of the camera view and move the camera automatic, like manually. But obviously what Bebe is showing is probably more comfortable.
Oh yeah, there's 1,000,001 camera tricks. It's really in depth for anyone who likes to do cameras.
Mhm.
I think that's perfect though, especially when you talk about like adding a bunch of new cameras, because that's the hack that I've used to make Blender animations or anything look cooler than they actually are, is just by taking it from a bunch of different angles and then putting it all together in whatever I want to do. And that's a time saver, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and a lot of the times you're gonna be moving around your model anyway, constantly working on how it looks. And then every now and then you're gonna be like, yo, this is actually a really cool view. Then you can just snap a camera there.
Snap it.
I just zoomed into my face and my tongue was like right there. That make my head move, and I can't find them.
Okay, sure. We'll add that into here because that could be a big part of how you want to take your picture. So let's say I have my camera here and I'm doing a little bit of a side view. I'll adjust the bones and I'll adjust your background real quick. So say you're doing a side shot like this.
Mhm.
And you see how my plane, my backdrop doesn't fit. We can just stretch this out or rotate it. So when you sub menus for it, and just go like here and then pull this out and be like, okay, I want, now it covers for the picture again, right? Or maybe I'll just rotate the whole thing. So you can adjust your background to fit your camera angle with your model. And then let's say I want my character to look at this spike clicking out of your head. If you don't have this one, because this is from the last tutorial, you might have all the little spike dots coming out of the face.
Yeah.
So we'll select any of the armature that you can grab. And then on this section at the top left, you should have pose mode available. This is only going to be available when your armature is selected. So we can switch into pose mode. And your transform is now going to look for your bone that you're selecting. So if you select somewhere in the face or the neck or the chest, any part that you want to rotate, we can rotate it. So I'm selecting, my character has a bone in the head. So I'm selecting here in the head, and then we'll use these tools on the side because it'll be a little easier for this precision that we want. So if I select rotate on the side over here, we'll get the rotate gizmo. And I can just come in and tilt the head a little.
Okay.
So it looks at the camera.
Look at that. I was gonna say, I think that's a common thing people ask for, is like trying to get the eyes to like look at what they're looking at. I think someone had tweeted about that this morning, and yeah, I've found it way easier just to like move your head a little bit instead of trying to move the eyes specifically.
Yeah, the easier way would be you move the entire head. Otherwise, we're rotating eyes, and then you're gonna have to, we probably have to split the eyes into two separate objects and then rotate both eyes one at a time to lock onto a target. But if you just rotate the head, it's usually much easier because the eyes are already straight, looking forward. And then once you have a face orient that you like, if you have these orange tab transforms over here, they're all orange colored, just put your mouse in that area and hit the letter I so they turn yellow. And this will just save them. And this is what you're going to want, because if they're not yellow when you render, they will use the default position it was in earlier. It needs to be saved. So hit the letter I on here, turn the yellow, and now for your render picture, they'll come out exactly what you see.
Sweet.
All right, everybody good with that? we'll start adding some extra stuff in here.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and anybody listening, if you guys want to ask questions, add in where you're stuck at. If you're working along with us, just let us know, and we'll be able to chime in and try to help as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Barry, how's yours coming along?
So I was rotating her head and accidentally put her head inside her body. It looks so funny. I might just render that.
I think that's one you definitely gotta at least save it for us so we can see what you did.
Okay.
But hey, Control Z is that one shortcut everybody better know by this point.
Yeah. Lifesaver.
And Control Y, that's super underrated. Just get the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I think we lost Kriya on the spaces.
Oh, did you?
So while you're working on that, I'm going to do a little bit of background work. To manually come like that. And then everything you know will go back to normal. But for my image, maybe I want the background just a little farther, so I'm going to pull it back. Or maybe I want it closer. Maybe something like that's nice. And I'm going to take my camera and maybe pull it back a little bit. Okay, perfect. Well, let's start adding some new things into this. So let's say we wanted to do like a little classic pedestal style, have your character stand on a pedestal. The way I would approach that is we come up here to add, and then we're going to go down to mesh, and we're going to add a cylinder.
Ooh.
So by selecting cylinder, you're going to have this big chunky object in here. And while this is here selected, we'll just adjust the scale a little bit to get the size we're going for. So I'm going to pull this Z down lower. So it's a little bit closer to what we're going for, like a platform. And then you can see it's actually going through the ground a little bit. So I'm going to just move the Z up. This one. And you can see my character is not standing on it. So I'll just select the armature. And we'll just pull this up a little bit.
Perfecto. Looking like a Calvin Klein shoot or something already.
I'm going to give you guys a little bit of alpha. Not artifact alpha. My alpha. I am recreating Stranger Things.
Ooh, sick.
That's all I'm going to say. I know you're excited, but
So
chill out.
it's super funny. I personally have not dove too deep into Stranger Things. I'm probably get canceled for that. I know. It's like it's the one show that I respected it. It looked cool, but I've just never just haven't gotten really into it.
That's strange because I imagined you to be a strangers things kind of guy.
Strangers. Oh man. No, I've been I'm more of a Black Mirror type, I like
that's a
mystery,
good one.
but not I don't know, that show's not innocent though. That show's got some some darkness to it. I don't know, it's interesting.
I can't handle that.
You can't handle a Black Mirror?
No. I'm too weak.
Well, Stranger Things has some
I'd say.
scenes
I
that are
don't
a
know.
bit,
Stranger Things is kids, and their kids are
True.
surviving. Okay.
You said kids all survive. Like, you don't want to be trapped in like a mental prison video game or something like that, like in Black Mirror.
Oh. Have any of you?
Oh
Yes.
yeah, been watching The Boys lately.
So good.
The Boys. That's
Yeah.
now. That's the next level.
So good.
I love a bit of gore.
Oh. Yeah, I was gonna say I was watching an episode last night. My girlfriend and I were eating dinner, and I was like,
Oh no, that's the
hungry
worst
anymore.
time.
What a time to watch that.
All right, Bev is doing stuff in the background over here while we're chopping it up about The Boys.
Okay. So if you added your cylinder, you're gonna notice it's like real chunky like this, with lots of flat surfaces. And then if you do what we showed earlier, like you just tried to shade smooth it, it still looks a little awkward. It doesn't seem right. So the way we can clean this up really quickly is we can switch into edit mode, and we can just hit right click and hit subdivide.
Ooh.
So this is just going to add more faces. It's going to divide the surface up a little bit more. We can do this twice, 3 times, up to you. But all this is going to do is when you go into your shade smooth, it's going to help a little bit with getting that surface to come out a little cleaner.
Oh yeah, shade smooth is a lifesaver because sometimes if you want to get a smooth surface, you might be tempted to use the subdivide tool, but the problem is that if you use that, you get so much excess geometry, and instead if you use the smooth tool, you get the same result but use way less vertices. So it's good for optimization.
That is good to know because people, I think the biggest issue people will run into is like they start to make things and then they're like, okay, well, now I got to sit here for this 8-hour cycles render or something to go through. It's like, there's so many different little things that you can do to at least save your computer from dying under a render.
Oh, absolutely. And perhaps that can be a workshop that we can do in the future where we can teach people how to optimize their models, how to reduce, polygon count, and just make sure that renders or animations run way more smoothly.
Get stuff ready for on cyber.
Oof, yeah.
Oof. On cyber would be a fun long video.
Well, speaking of, we've already been going for 45 minutes, so we're trying to keep these a little bit more condensed this time for everyone listening and joining in. So if you guys have questions, if you want to jump in and ask, please feel free to do so. We'll probably keep going for another 45 minutes or so, but just want to make sure if you're working out there with us, you getting some help as well.
So what I did was I did a step that we showed earlier where I just hit the main light, the first light, and I duplicated it and I moved it over to the left, moved another one over to the right. And then
Ooh, I like those. You're getting moody with those lights. One thing I will say that I've learned and has been really, really, really helpful is looking at like color palettes and color theory in lighting. You'll be surprised at how simple that stuff is, but it becomes so important. And whenever you want to do stuff like this,
That's a really, really good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Beb's
Yeah, what's
doing it,
crazy is-
but I feel like that are a lot of practice.
Well, what's nice about it is it's very visual, right? You get to add the lights, adjust them, move them, and then you get to kind of feel it, right? Like, I don't like the way this feels. I don't like the environment it's in, or you do love it.
Very true. That's my thing. I just like to stay in the camera view as much as possible, so that way I can see what the final version will kind of look like.
So in this lighting setup, what I was kind of showing you guys is I put a top light, and then I put just basically a three point surrounding lights, and then I'm using the top light now to kind of look for maybe a shadow pattern that I like, of where I want the shadow to fall.
Question.
Yes.
So, say if you have light that's been rotated and it's at this kind of angle, and you want to move it straight on that axis like this. I'm not explaining myself right. So, if you do GZ, it
Yes.
moves in that direction, and if
Yes.
you do GX, it goes in the advantage.
Oh, you can probably use normal. I think Beb, you can explain this, but if you look at the center, at the top of the screen, at the center, you can see global.
Yeah.
But there are different options that you can select. For example, normal, and that's often the best selection that you can use if you want that type of angle when you're moving the camera. So it basically follows the normal of what you're pointing.
Huh.
Perfect. Legend.
You can try it out. It might work.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, nice.
That
There
was
you go.
quick.
I love
was
that
a quick
immediate
fix.
satisfaction there.
Don't you love how it's usually always just one button? There's just one button or like one little shortcut that you got to do, and you'll have your answer.
It's crazy. How long do you think it would take to learn Blender inside out?
Ooh.
20 years?
Nah. I mean, it depends. Like we said last time, I think you should definitely specialize on one specific area. Like, don't pretend to become an expert on animation, renders, designing, sculpting. It's just impossible. Like, even top tier, experts don't know everything about Blender. But what they do is that they specialize on one specific area. So I think my best advice is to just try and specialize or learn the most on the areas that you're most interested in. Like, for example, for me, I'm very into like modeling and stuff, so that's where I excel. But for example, animation, that's something that I'm still like learning, for example.
I was gonna say modeling is terrifying to me. Like I just the bevel stuff today were things that like I was like, okay, at least that's a hack that now I can like maybe make something smaller, because it just there's just like there's so much that you can do, and I don't know how to get like any sort of cool modeling stuff done, and that should probably be a lesson. So Priya, we'll have
definitely.
to add that to the list.
Well, I think when it comes to modeling, it's very similar to many other softwares, where once you learn, you basically use those all the time to do whatever you want. So once you learn those shortcuts or those quick tools, I think Beb can agree on this as well. You're pretty much set. You can basically do whatever.
Yeah, and it's really about like finding your style too. You're gonna find the tools that you like the most, and there's nothing wrong with using them constantly, right? It's up to you as like, yeah, I like the way that this tool makes this look, and then you apply that to tons and tons of projects just because it's your style.
Very true.
Yeah,
I'm
or
gonna
like
add-
we're seeing right now, maybe like a lighting effect as well. Like, same.
Yeah, and even like your lighting patterns, like I do this by this is my like default lighting pattern. I go top, left, right, front, and then just adjust. But there's 101 different ways to do lighting. I'm sure Cass knows. You've looked into
I
lighting
was
quite
gonna
a bit.
say that was one of the skills that did help to transfer over, and it's weirder in Blender, I'd say, because I'm used to working with like physical cameras and just random other like lights that I'll have around, and picking those up and moving those around. It's the same process, but it's really cool how you can just lay everything exactly where you want and then just let it be. And yeah, I don't know. Blender is amazing for that simple aspect. Like this is like a whole film studio for animation and modeling and sculpting and all this wrapped into like one free tool. So it's nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, I'm gonna finish up the lesson and make this basic, like this is like a photo shoot style, right? You just got like, I don't know, you got a pedestal and a backdrop. But we're not like in real life, so you can do other interesting things too. But we'll start with this. So on this side menu here, so in here, this is where you're gonna adjust your resolution. So if you want a 4K, this is where you type it in. If you want a square, this is where you would type in that square. You go like 1000 by 1000 or 4000 by 4000 if you're trying to do a square photo in 4K or whatever, right? This is where you would adjust that. And you can see it'll live change your camera too. And it's also going to let you do really weird sizes that are not typical formats. So you kind of have to look up what you want if you're going for a specific platform.
Which is sick. And that was one of the things that I noticed. Oh man, I can't remember what his name is. I think it's something FX. Marino F did the crazy like 24-hour render where it's a full movie. But one of the things I noticed is that he had it in the like 1080 1920 vertical aspect ratio, which like usually everybody has used it for like Twitter, social media if you wanted, and that's how you kind of create your own workflow.
Yeah, and with that,
oh yeah, it's so easy.
Oh, go for it. With that, you have these actually respect multipliers. So like say you want 1920 by 1080, but you want it double the resolution, you can just hit asterisk for multiply and 2 and it'll do it.
Oh, that's sick. Yo.
And then you don't got to do the math. And same that this goes for anything too. Like you have your pedestal and it's let me give it something. Let's scale like this up.
Blender is crazy.
You can do it to anything that has like a box like this. So you can multiply here, or you can go slash for divide, and it'll just calculate it for you. In the event you're like, I want this exactly 2.4 times bigger, you know. But following this is your resolution here. The only other really important thing I'd say is probably your output. It's going to go into a temporary folder when you render with output by default, and then you have to go and save it. But if you don't want to have to always go and save it, you can just select the folder you want it to go to, and then when you render it, it'll just appear there. And this is also where you change JPEG, or you want to do a video instead because you're doing an animation. That's pretty much it. This is your your resolution for it, and this is where it's going.
Sick.
And then we can do a little bit of a lighting adjustment. So if you click on the render properties right above the printer, a lot of these options are here for you to play with while you're in Eevee to change the look or appearance of your render. So like Bloom is probably the most popular one that everyone loves, that affects your lights. and you can adjust its intensity. It kind of just gives things that don't have a glow a glow. That's really what it does. It helps, but if you don't notice in your scene, you really don't need it either. But these are all here for you to play with to try and get different effects for your lighting, for your render. I think the most obvious one that everyone kind of goes to is look right here and view transform. And this will dramatically change.
What? Yo, what is this? I have never seen this. This is new to me. That's so cool. That's
Wow.
actually super slick.
And then you can also do the contrast of it, right? So like usually, I'd say the most common one people like to use is like high contrast on standard or filmic.
How would you
Yo.
make disco lights?
Oh yeah, it can be done.
Definitely,
We don't have to
definitely can be
animate.
done.
That would be cool.
I was gonna say, I think animating is definitely one of those things we should try to teach people because it's not as complicated as it seems. But like once you understand, like Beb and Priya were talking, like once you understand the tools and especially like keyframing, I think that's the biggest thing people just have to learn. And you can make about anything move and dance around pretty
Yeah.
easy.
We could even do that as soon as next week. Because with these two videos, you'll be able to get your character, get it placed, and then make a little bit of a scene, a lighting scene for it, and then we'll just animate in it.
Yeah, let's do it.
But
So
one thing I
we've
mentioned
got-
earlier, oh, sorry, what's that?
I was just gonna say we coming up on the hour, so we can go for another like 30 minutes. That way we can keep it a little concise and then build to this next idea as well.
Oh, we really are pretty much done with all the basics of like how lights work,
Oh, this
and
one
then
is
like
easy.
where to, yeah, this one's really not that bad because it's up to you as like the creative of where do I want the lights, how far do I want the lights, the color, you know, the strength, the position. It's just really more of a fun activity than it is like modeling, or you're worrying about like the size and shape. This is just a visual. You're going for the feeling, the mood. But I mentioned earlier, like this is a
Yeah, I was gonna say
backdrop.
your method is pretty spot on in my opinion, Beb. Doing I think you said front, left, back, right, or something like that, and that's like very similar to what you'll see in most like film setups where you'll have like 2 lights in the front and then you'll have 2 lights in the back. Usually like one is super strong in the front and then the back one's just kind of dulled out, so they just give like color. And yeah, Beb nails it. So I think if you've got this like video, you could probably walk through and do lighting for any setup.
Yeah. Well, let's do a little bit of something you couldn't really do in real life, which would be like let's say we delete this background, and I'm gonna delete this pedestal too, and then I'm gonna put my camera zero like this, 90 0 0, and then all this at 0, and we'll just pull this back. So I'm just trying to do a front view basic camera angle, right? So once you can do something that's not real, but still pretty cool, where we can just come in here and we can go add and mesh and then plane, and then we can rotate this plane so it's on the 90. So what I mean by that, it's like parallel, it's flat facing the camera. All I did was change the rotation to 90, so it's standing up. And then we can pull this back along your y-axis so it's in the background, and just stretch it up. So I have this big wall essentially floating back here. But then let's say, if I look at it from the camera, I have this big wall here, and I can move it over. What I'm going to, maybe we'll rotate it so it's a little bit angled like this. And then we'll come in and we'll light this wall up.
Interesting. I wonder where Beb's going with this.
Yeah,
I don't know where this is going, and this seems like it's going to be a fun one.
So this can actually be really messy too. Like I'm just really quickly throwing a wall that's like sideways over here, throwing a light, just shining it at it. It'll just make it really bright like this.
I was going to say, this is how most of my like projects look. This is more accurate to what I've seen.
And then I'm just going to take the same plane we made and I'm going to duplicate it with Shift D, like how we did earlier, and move it like over here. And then we'll just throw it really far back again, make it really big. These weird blocky examples. And I'm going to duplicate this light and throw it back here. I'm going to make this next light really strong. But I want this one to be like yellow or orangish, and this one to be, let me grab the light. This one, I don't know, red. You see the effect it's kind of making? Like this hard edge line dividing it with different light on these planes back here.
That was slick. I like that. I like that. This looks like it's going to be a start to like a soccer commercial or something. Or football for half of the group. That American accent. That was pretty on point.
Well, you see what I mean? We just got, all we did was we got planes and we made them really big and we threw in the back. And then we just lined the planes up and lit them up with a light. I didn't even color the planes. They're white planes with red light and yellow light, but it creates this kind of cool, almost video game-esque like design style.
Yes, we
while
like
you're still in
that.
Blender without being in like Photoshop or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go crazy with it. You can do all types of shapes or divisions or just throw anything in there and light it up. And we'll use this infinite world space to create these kind of cool designs. Or if you want like a hard shadow, you could even take this back plane and pull it really close so it has that shadow of the front one. But this is up to you as your artistic endeavor to kind of find something cool that you like.
Mm-hmm.
This would just be a different approach to like your classic backdrop style.
Wow, that's super slick.
Yeah, that looks very good.
Yeah, one thing I would I'll throw out there that I love and I love messing with. If you're ever under the camera button, you can change the focal length, and that'll create some really crazy options available for you, because focal length will make it either feel like you're really up close and give you like that fisheye lens towards the low end, or it'll take your background and like kind of make it closer to the subject in a weird way if you have like a really high focal length. But there's other things that you can do, and it's super fun to see that Blender has like all of these options available.
Yeah, absolutely. Another cool option to play around with is depth of field. If you use that, especially if you have multiple objects which are closer or further away from your model, you can get like that very cool cinematic look that you might want to use for your render or animation.
Yeah, and that saves you, because your Kriya is really good at Photoshop as well, but you don't always want to have to go in and like blur items to match the initial blur of an image. Like it's just, if you can get it all done in one, that's golden.
Exactly.
And with that, you also have these shifts, the shift X and Y's for little camera adjustments without having to actually move your camera.
Yeah, explore the tabs. That's what I would say. Explore the tabs safely, because there are a lot of different things, but I don't know any of them. I feel like I just pressing buttons and like messing with things just to see what they do.
So much to explore.
There really is.
Love it.
Fairy, we got like 10-15 minutes. You got any little sneak peeks you would be willing to share with the squad?
I don't know if you guys want to see this.
I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of want to see it.
Posing is very difficult, I have to say.
That's one thing. Oh, go ahead, Ben.
I was gonna say, yeah, posing can be very time consuming and a little bit difficult, which is kind of why the approach I was going for is like, if you just use Mixamo and find one that's really close to what you want, it'll save you a bunch of time. But it is a good learning experience to go from just the armature and getting it all the way to where you want it to be.
Yeah, no, there's nothing close to what I'm trying to get Mixamo.
Ooh,
and I will show you what I mean.
I was say that sounds specific. Yeah, that's the interesting tip, Bev, the taking the Mixamo animations to create the poses, because I think there's gonna be a lot of ways I need to do that. Just thinking about like random things I wanted to do. I was like trying to mess with a pose the other day and it just was not working. I'm like, I'm actually just gonna use this idea and see if I can find somebody who already did it for me, essentially.
That's the good thing. There's so many pros.
Well, if the tool is there, you should really look into using it. It's there to help you, you know.
Definitely.
Sure.
I was gonna say there's a bunch of websites as well when it comes to like if people are looking for assets, like they don't want to build a wall, or if they want to like, you know, find a city or have a little prop in their, you know, whatever animation. There's so many free like 3D designs out there that you can kind of download, and if you do want to pay for things, you can also like find a lot of those as well. But yeah, it's really cool. Like you don't have to do, like Kriya said, you don't have to do everything. You can just kind of specialize in what you think is interesting and then just dive deep.
Absolutely, yeah.
Fairy, when are we getting this leak? I'm impatient.
You want to see?
Yes.
It's really not even ready, but
I'll give you 2 more minutes or 1 more minute. So
okay.
Let's say you have your character like this and you wanted to rotate it. You want to rotate the whole character. So you might grab the armature and you might go here to rotation because this just makes sense. And you're going to try and rotate it, but your character is doing that, right? It's going way out there. A solution to this, you can click on this armature, go over here to object, and then come down to apply and all transformations. And this is basically going to reset it. So where it currently is positioned, it's going to think it's 0. So when you click on that, if you come to the same place with the rotation now, it should stay center.
Bruh.
And then you can get like, you just wanted it like that for some reason.
The time-saving tips, you have no idea. I've had to move things so strangely just because I couldn't figure out that rotation part. I just had to deal with it. I don't know why Bev is scared of posing. It looks like he's already got he got it down to where he can move it pretty quick to where he wants.
It's just practice with it. You just keep doing it, and then all of a sudden you're not really thinking about it. It kind of comes like driving, huh? where you don't really have to think about it.
I feel that.
I
I'm
just
one
want. Sorry, you go.
No, I mean, I was gonna say it was a random anecdote about how I space out while driving, but you know, please, please. It sounds like you have more pressing information for the group.
No, I was just gonna say that I hope if Clegg ever sees this, he's proud of me. Because
Like FX, act clever.
so I work really hard on it.
So I was gonna say let's watch Fairy share a screen and then we'll get to see the magic that she made. Last time I was impressed. Like I said, you know, Blender is way easier than it seems. I just think like sometimes you can get like scared and not want to like dive too deep. But it also helps when you have someone like Beb or Kriya who are like giving you almost the exact answer on how to get things done.
Exactly.
Deep thought. I just see her one clone eye just like tracking like super fast.
No, I'm ready. Whenever you guys are. Oh, wait. Okay. Yeah. Are we ready?
Oh yeah, we want the
Yeah,
epic
let's
reveal.
get-
Okay. Right.
I'm gonna stop sharing.
Gotta have a full reveal. I'm excited. We need a drum roll sound.
I hope you guys like what I've made. If you are sensitive, please don't look at the screen right now.
Wait. I don't understand what's happening first off.
Wait.
Can
you see it already?
It feels like
We can see like a big red blob or something.
Okay. I'm zooming out.
Oh, I thought it was like
Ooh.
a viper mouth.
Yo.
Oh, where did I go?
Oh wait, it went black.
Why does it do that?
Did you put yourself in yourself?
I don't know
Is
what
this
happened there.
Inception?
So we have Ferry who's been possessed.
I can see the
Oh,
Stranger Things
now I
reference
see.
now.
Yeah, I get it now.
She's been cracked.
So this is actually pretty slick, and I like the way you're doing it. You taking it too far now. You're taking it too far.
It's so fun.
It's
really fun.
The terms and conditions.
You might have to edit this out.
But
Good girl said.
this is actually really sick. So I think you can make this work. So if you pull up where's your camera? Go to the camera, because I there's a photographer that I follow who takes pictures like this, and I want to see if you could kind of like replicate this idea.
What does he do to his models?
But crazy Photoshop. It's really weird. Yeah. Shout
Obviously,
out,
still trying to understand the lighting and stuff, because I wanted her shadow to be down there, so it looks like she's floating. But can you guys see? Yeah, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So okay, so I see you have it like above. What I was thinking, and the way you could try to do it is if you take the camera like farther away, and like you're looking at it from like a distance to where you see just like yourself floating, and then you kind of see a spotlight.
Okay, so Kriya said normal, and then that didn't do anything. And then if I go 0, oh my god, it's a bit far away. But that is terrifying.
But it's starting to you see what I mean? It's starting to get there, so that
right.
way you can see like the spotlight as well.
You're right.
Yeah, if you move the light correctly, I mean, you'll eventually get the shadow exactly where you want. Or you can also adjust, if you go on the light setting, you can also adjust, of course, the power, but also the radius.
Okay.
Yeah, perhaps, it's size, sorry. If you make the size smaller, that should hopefully work. But you also need to move the light a little bit. Oh, maybe, see, that seems to be working?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
There's so much you can do. I'll have a render out soon. Give me
Okay,
time.
cool.
One thing I would love, and this is random, but I just like it was something that I would love to see in this. If you just duplicated your fairy like a bunch of times, I think it would look even creepier and great in like the best way. Like where there's just a mob of them.
Yes. Have you guys seen the game Control?
I don't think I've
Where
seen
there's
that.
like floating bodies everywhere.
What do you play in your spare
Sounds
time?
familiar.
What do you play?
I didn't play that. Yobs played it.
Yeah,
It
we got
sounds
questions,
familiar.
man.
I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys later. I don't want to accidentally open up anything, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now.
Oh man, I was gonna say, y'all, you got some interesting game inspirations. But I think what we can do is we can wrap it here. That was a pretty solid day. We got a lot done. So, and this was almost exactly like probably an hour of us getting into the Blender portion. So it'll be a bit more concise on the YouTube and video side this time around. But yeah, I'm excited. Feel free to reach out to Beb, Kriya, Fairy, Artifact. Just tag the Artifact Creators account. You know, we're always watching, and yeah, we will make sure to keep things in mind and just keep bringing more ideas to the space.
Yeah, and if you guys, like my work, you can tag Clegg in it and just like hype it up a little bit.
Yes, we have to hype up the demonic fairies that are trying to take over on Twitter. That's just clone law, I think, or something.
It
It's
is.
somewhere in there. But sweet. Well,
Great.
I appreciate everybody jumping in. Beb, Kriya, any last tips, thoughts you guys want to throw out?
Have fun with it. Just keep having fun. That's the most important part.
Yeah, just consider it as a game. I mean, just play around with the program. Feel free to use any other tool that you see on the screen and just have fun with it.
Yeah, and there's plenty of tutorials on YouTube, not just from Artifact account, not just from our Twitter. There's everybody all over the world giving free, helpful content out. So just play around.
Send it.
Send it.